We have been talking about language and structure. In this class, we are focusing on the structure question. So by the end of the class, you should be able to explain what structure is and explore some of the structural techniques that writers use. It is important to emphasize that as you think of your I.G.C.S.E English exam, both paper 1 and paper 2 will have a language and structure question. So in paper 1, that will be question 4 and 5, and in paper 2, that will be question 1. From experience, I have noted that when it comes to the question of language, most of us are so happy and excited, and we really make good points on that. But what keeps us so low down, and sometimes we are just quiet without saying anything at all, is when it comes to structure. So here, let's get some green light into just understanding structure. Writers often spend very many hours agonizing and struggling to determine the best words for their text, which is a question of language, and they also spend lots of time trying to decide the best form for the text, which is a question of structure. When you think about the structure of a text, you're asking yourself very pertinent questions in the sense of how exactly is this text formed? How is it built? How is it put together? In essence, you're asking, how is this particular text constructed? Some of the structural techniques you need in your toolkit include the setting, plot, characters, description, use of repetition, use of lists, punctuation is key, paragraphing, dialogue, turning points, and foreshadowing. At this point, I am quite certain you are wondering and getting a little frustrated, scratching your head, and the question playing in your mind is, well, those are too many. Here is the good news. You don't need to write on all of them. You just need to write well on a few of them. As a writer budgets their story, they are thinking mostly of where is the story happening and at what time. And that setting, because setting refers to the place where and the time when the action of the story occurs. Now, setting is important because it creates a particular mood. So say, for instance, that the writer has said the story outside, it's evening, it's calm and quiet, the trees are still, and there is someone reading a book on a hammock. So perhaps the writer is trying to tell us that the mood here is calm, it's peaceful and relaxed. And so when you're trying to determine the setting and you want to find out where exactly the story is happening, some of the questions you ask yourself are, is it inside or outside? Is it a town or village? Does it feel familiar or unfamiliar? And does it feel safe or dangerous? And when you turn the focus the other way and you want to find out the time when the story is happening, ask yourself, is it past, present, or future? Is it daytime or nighttime? At what point in the life of the character? And most importantly, how does the setting add to the mood or feelings in the text? Another important aspect of structure is dialogue. And when you think about the dialogue, ask yourself a very simple and basic question. Does anyone talk? What is it that they say and what does it reveal? And stories are really about people, right? So when writers construct their works, they carefully sculpture their characters and give them certain qualities. So when you think of the characters, ask yourself, who are they? What are they doing? And what are they like? Are they mean, self-absorbed, stubborn, adventurous, kind? And what do they look like? What are their feelings? Writers always think very carefully about the events and how those events happen in the text. That's called the plot. And when you think about the plot, ask yourself, where does the story begin and why? How does the story develop? Do events follow each other in a linear manner or are there flashbacks? and or foreshadows. Do we have a turning point, which is a very important moment in a text where things change and take another direction? And of course, ask yourself, how does the story end? Let me emphasize one thing. Don't let yourself grow old with wondering about the many aspects of plot that we have covered. In an exam environment, all you have to do is just focus on one aspect of the plot, say the beginning, then talk about it in terms of effect. In essence, what does the writer achieve by using that aspect of plot? And another thing you might want to look at is focus on paragraphs. And here you look at the size of the paragraphs. If you have a short paragraph, which is one word or one sentence, then perhaps it's designed to achieve a particular dramatic effect. Now, if you have long paragraphs that are very detailed, then ask yourself what ideas come out. Some of the other very common structural techniques that writers use include the use of lists. If a writer says, for instance, I saw thousands of hungry, scared, betrayed, and broken faces, the writer is reinforcing the idea that the people here have suffered really immensely. Think also of repetition, which emphasizes an idea. Punctuation marks, such as question marks, exclamation point, the use of ellipses, semicolon, comma, and a full colon. Think of the effect of each one of them. And then vivid description, which captures details about something or someone. And so I should hope that this class has been helpful in terms of equipping you with the structural techniques that you need, and that at this point now you understand a little bit more on structure. And all I can therefore say is go forth and analyze the texts.